And I'm a naturopath in the Southwest, been practicing for over 20 years, and I have a very special interest in gut health, as 70% of my practice involves seeing patients with various gut-related issues. My practice of naturopathic care is focused on evidence-based, patient-centered healing using a wide range of testing techniques, from hormone to neuroanalysis, urology, live blood analysis, tongue and nail science, and integrated laboratory testing to investigate why the body is out of balance. I use traditional naturopathic principles such as diet and lifestyle changes and employ herbs and supplements when needed. My passion as a naturopath is about educating people how to eat well and live well, and for them to take control of their own health by making the changes of eating better and eliminating lifestyle practices that are not supporting the process. I'm going to start off the gut panel, beginning with what a healthy gut looks like. So when I'm looking for signs of a healthy gut, I look at a patient's bowel function foremost. And I'm particularly looking at the frequency and consistency of their stools. Yes, we're going to have a little bit of a stool talk. So how many times a day do you go to the toilet? We want to aim for at least one firm, sausage-like consistency stool a day. If you're going 3 to 4 times a day and it's mushy and loose, or forms a cow pad in the bottom of the toilet, it's hard to flush, then that tells me you have a rapid transit time and you'll not be absorbing the nutrients from your food you're eating, and there's inflammation in the gut. On the other hand, if you're going once every 3 to 4 days and the stool is hard to expel, or it's like little rabbit poos, then you're not eliminating your toxic waste well, and there's going to be problems with toxicity in the body. Other stool signs that tell us something amiss is mucus in the stool, indicating malabsorption or inflammation, a very nasty smell that lingers, possibly fermentation in the small intestine and or parasites. Excessive gas production or undigested food in the stool can indicate not enough digestive enzymes linked to breakdown of food or a low stomach pH. I often ask people also if they make time to sit on the toilet and allow for a proper elimination. So we all know the story of our partners or men or even our sons get up and they go and sit on the toilet for a good 20 minutes in the morning, but often women wait for that stool to come and they're quickly eliminating and probably not really doing a proper elimination. So that's really, really important. So then I'm going to look for other digestive signs. Is there bloating, especially after you've eaten, heartburn or reflux, excessive gas or burping, pain or cramping, or during or after stools? So these can all indicate that the gut may be out of balance. Then I'm going to look to some body signs suggesting poor gut health, such as dark circles under the eyes, which can suggest low iron and other nutrient deficiencies from not absorbing foods properly, or maybe they might indicate parasite infection and food allergies. Blotchy skin, eczema, acne, rosacea, and general skin problems tell me that the skin has a major toxin elimination in the body is under stress. Usually as the bowels are not doing their job properly and the skin has to take over to help eliminate toxins. A thick white coating on the tongue may indicate problems in the gut, and nail signs such as ridging, white spots in the nails, and weak brittle nails. After body signs, I look for common symptoms in the body of poor gut function such as poor sleep, poor concentration, sinusitis, mood swings and irritability, anxiety, depression, and even diabetes can indicate that's not healthy function. A patient's health history gives good clues related to gut function. How many courses of antibiotics have they had over a lifetime? Did you know that just one course of antibiotics can take 2 years to replenish the good bacteria that they're eradicating, along with the bacteria that they were targeting? Some antibiotics kill off some good bacteria that can never even get back. So if you really think about antibiotics and if they're essential, there are many natural effective treatments for infections that don't appear without good bacteria. A really common thing I see is that patients have recurrent ear infections or just recurrent infections as a child, and they've had many courses of antibiotics. Their gut is always compromised as an adult. That's a particular key concern. The use of proton pump inhibitors, such as antacids for reflux, are really common medications that greatly decrease gut acidity. That's important to break down dirt in the gut. Other medications like the oral contraceptive pill decreases nutrients such as B12, folate and zinc, and these are really needed for healthy gut function. And I find we're very deficient in doing on oral contraceptive pill. We are what we eat, and what we eat determines our gut and overall health. Overly processed foods, excess sugar and bad fats actually kill off our good bacteria and cause acidity, as do alcohol and caffeine. So moderation is key here. a diet of fresh seasonal fruits and veggies, whole grain cereals and fibres and fermented foods act as food for our healthy bacteria and fuel for our healthy bacteria and should be a main focus of the diet. A healthy gut will be healthy if there's constant stress around, or if the stress wasn't managed well. The gut and the brain are directly related and in touch with each other. Stress physically affects the gut in many ways, so every evaluation of the gut includes stress management evaluation as well. So when I'm consulting with a patient and assessing their gut health, I'm looking at their overall health as well. There may be no overall overt gut symptoms, but stressing their gut will still aid their health. The gut has been linked to just about every health condition, from obesity. Research has found that the gut flora in obese patients is actually quite different to the gut flora of, say, thin patients. Gut's implications on mental health, immunity, and Alzheimer's disease. So gut health is hugely important, and it's my number one priority in treatment of any health condition or the body. Thank you.
Yes, hello, my name's Victoria Martin. I'm also a naturopath, as the same as Tara, and I work and live in Margaret River. And that's great to hear that intro from Tara about the depth of how we as naturopaths look into gut health. It really is the absolute crux and key, and always has been in naturopathy, of how we look to solve patients' health issues. So I'm going to talk today more, just a little bit broader, touch on some similar things that Tara has said, but these are really important things. If they're being said twice, it's really key to what the message is today. So I'm going to talk really about the importance of microbial diversity to our health generally. So nearly 100 trillion bacteria, fungi, viruses and other microorganisms compose our body's microflora. And advancing science has made it quite clear that these organisms play a major role in our health, both mental and physical. As humans, we're literally teeming with microbes on our skin, our digestive tract, respiratory tract, our mouth, our eyes, our nose, they're everywhere. We are fundamentally elaborate ecosystems with different sets of microbes inhibiting different parts of the body and playing different roles. And our gastrointestinal tracts are considered one of the most complex microbial ecosystems on Earth. You may have a basic awareness that the microbes in our gut affect our digestion, but their influence extends far beyond that. Our brain, our heart, our skin, our mood, our weight, the list is endless. We live in a society where bacteria have been painted as the bad guys, but we now know that bacteria serve vital purposes in our bodies. Our gut bacteria manufacture vitamins, support the immune system, prevent the growth of harmful bacteria, maintain the health of the gut, produce hormones, affect how we process nutrition, store fats, digest food, our metabolism, how drugs affect us, our moods, our memory, the list is endless. So the majority of our microbes, or our microbiome as they're known, live in our digestive system, with between 500 and 1100 species of microbes in the gut alone. Present even in the stomach, where they're resistant to strong stomach acid, numbers in the small intestine grow to an incredible 1 million bacteria per milliliter of intestinal fluid. And microbes really thrive in the large intestine, with an incredible 90% of all cells in the human body being the microbes here. We are made up of 10 trillion human cells and 100 trillion microbial cells. So we are actually 10 times more microorganisms than we are human cells. Makes us the ultimate hotel. We have more bacteria living inside our large intestine than there have ever been people on the planet, just in our own intestine. And the microbiome is one of the largest organs in the body, being roughly the weight of our brain. The two main genuses of bacteria that exist in our digestive system you may have heard of are lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. We actually inherit them from our mother during gestation, birth and breastfeeding, if we're breastfed, and also from close contact with our immediate family during the first few years of life. From recent studies of the Microbiome Project, we know that within 838 days after birth, which is approximately 240 years, we have created our own unique set of microbes that turn into our adult microbiota. So it's really, really important that if you have a young baby or a toddler, that they are being exposed to different forms of microbes, they're out there getting dirty, and I'll talk a bit more about this later. Our microbiomes grow to be very variable, very complex, very individual and very important. So the importance of probiotics. Probiotics, which you may have heard of, contain beneficial live bacteria and have been used for centuries in the form of traditional fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, kombucha, sauerkraut and kimchi. Supplements of probiotics in capsule form can also be used to improve health and actually target and prevent certain health conditions. Probiotic supplements of foods help modulate the composition of your intestinal flora and create and support balance. We can increase our ability to inhabit bad bacteria and stimulate our immune response through the use of probiotics. We don't want to rely solely on probiotics for gut health, but we also need to support the natural flora already present. A key factor for gut health is to vary your sources of probiotics from food and supplements. So I would advise to mix and match the probiotics if you're taking them. Don't take one thing for too long, and vary the amounts and types of probiotic foods that you're eating, and hopefully you are eating them. You can actually create an issue in the gut by taking the same thing for a long period of time. So how do we feed our good bacteria? The gut bacteria digest all of our food. You would have heard the saying, we are what we eat, and this saying applies to our microbiome as well. So when you're having a meal, look at it and think, what in this meal is for me and my appetite? What do I feel like eating? But what is actually there for my gut bacteria? We need to feed it the right foods for it to work effectively. As well as the probiotic foods, which I talked about, which is the natural fermented foods. With every meal, look at prebiotic source. So prebiotics are things such as oats, legumes, bananas, beets, garlic, onion, asparagus, artichokes. They are just as important as the probiotics as they stimulate and feed our populations of good bacteria. If you think of the gut like your lawn outside, then the bad bacteria are the weeds. Probiotics are like planting extra healthy good turf if you have that bought in, and prebiotics are the fertiliser for what you've already got there. So you really need to keep feeding that lawn to keep it healthy. So ultimately we need a good mix of plant-based foods in the diet with plenty of fibre. We've seen a substantial drop in our fibre intake in modern times due to the huge amount of processed foods that we eat. And as humans, we evolved consuming way more fibre than we do now. We really need that good basis of plant fibre to give our gut bacteria food. We also need to spend more time outside, as good bacteria is found in the plants and soil, and we need that natural mix for the diversity of our microbiomes. This is vital for children in those crucial first years when they're forming their gut flora. They need to be outside, crawling around, getting dirty and eating dirt, literally. So what harms our bacteria? As Tara mentioned, antibiotics. The average 18-year-old has had 18 courses of antibiotics, and the effect of the microbiome can last for 1 to 2 years. We need to avoid antibiotics as much as possible. Reseed with good bacteria if we are using antibiotics. We need to reduce stress, eat a great diet and ensure we're getting enough sleep. The importance of managing stress, as Tara mentioned, cannot be understated, and it's one of the biggest drivers in my clinic that I see for all health conditions. If you're using, remember, surface and spray forms of antibiotics, so antibiotic soaps or antibiotic sprays in your house, we absorb up to 60% of what goes on our skin into our bodies. So by doing that, you could be getting a small dose of antibiotics every day. Also remember that commercially produced meats are often fed with antibiotic-resistant foods. So we need to really eliminate as much commercially produced meat as possible to bring down our antibiotic intake. So yes, organic meat costs more, but buy better quality, buy less, and really stretch out those into longer meals, so using broths and things like that. As Tara mentioned, sugar, gluten, pharmaceutical drugs, pollution also greatly affect the health of the microbiome. So what can go wrong with the microbiome? Symbiosis means living in harmony, and dysbiosis literally means the opposite, and it's when the bad guys in our guts take over and we have a dysbiosis. It essentially means there's an imbalance. It's most common in the digestive tract, but it can happen anywhere. For example, if you see children with stool sores, that's basically an imbalance in the bacteria of the skin. So what happens in a disturbed body system is that bacteria becomes less efficient at checks and balances. One colony becomes more dominant, and one becomes weaker. A chronic imbalance can form, which debilitates the good guys and compromises our system as a ratio should be about 85% good bacteria and 15% bad. We need the bad guys in there, but we don't want them to over-proliferate. As naturopaths, we can measure these things by quite extensive and sophisticated laboratory testing, which we have access to now, where we can actually do something called, say, for example, the CDSA, which gives us an 11, 12-page readout of exactly what's in your gut: good bacteria, bad bacteria, parasites, overgrowth of fungus such as candida. So things like that are really, really helpful when we're looking at actually looking at what's going on inside. So when dysbiosis exists, we may proliferate a typically harmless microbe, which can lead to serious health concerns. As well as digestive issues, as Tara said, our bacteria's long-range signaling capabilities can also promote other diseases, such as chronic fatigue, joint pain, fibromyalgia, allergies, mental fog, sugar cravings, skin problems, hyperactivity, learning and behaviour disorders, depression, arthritis, and autoimmune conditions. So myself and other naturopaths like Tara are experts in gut health, offering laboratory testing and individualised and effective permanent nutritional remedies. We make tailored nutritional programs and we help your gut maintain and remain healthy. And remember, it's never too late to positively influence or change our bacteria and our microbiome.
Hi everyone, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, and in Ayurveda we have 3 root causes of disease, and the main one being pratyapara, which means mistake of the intellect or an offence against wisdom. So doing things that we know are not really the right thing to do for ourselves, but we continue to do them. So the reason that we do this is because we've got habits that are really deeply ingrained in us, and we don't always question whether those habits are actually still serving us. Maybe at some point they did serve us, but maybe they're not really serving us, and they're not helping with our health anymore. So in Ayurveda we have an understanding of the gut as Agni, which is our digestive fire. So if you picture a fire, it can range from like a small little thing that's just got a bit of kindling on to like a raging furnace. And our digestive fire can be anywhere on that scale. And the way that in Ayurveda we look at really how well our digestive fire is working is through 3 areas: appetite, digestion, and elimination. So if we start with appetite, we're like probably 10 o'clock now. So who's had breakfast this morning already? And what was your signal for you to eat breakfast? What was your prompt to have breakfast today?
I'm sorry, just have a quick.
And what did that feel like in your body? Okay. So you had an empty feeling in your stomach?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was your prompt. So that's awesome. You've got an actual physical symptom that you're responding to that's causing you to have your breakfast. But a lot of the time it's not our internal symptoms that are telling us it's time to eat. It's often the external clock on the wall that's saying you've got to get to work, you've got to get to school, so you better eat something now. So that habit of just automatically eating when we're waking up might not actually be serving us, but maybe it's one that we've had from child age when we had to eat quickly before we went to school. So to stimulate your appetite, people who I work with, I like to work on the basis that at the beginning of the day we fully hydrate, we fully eliminate, so we're not bringing into today something that actually belongs to yesterday, our waste product from what we ate yesterday, and to get the body moving. So before we even think about putting more food into our gut, that we're actually getting the body up and working. Things that you can do to increase your appetite sensation would be to have a little pinch of dry ginger powder in boiling water, and dry ginger rather than fresh, just because it's more potent. And just drink that. So maybe if you've got a habit of get up, have breakfast, you could replace that habit with get up, maybe put your shoes or your dog's lead next to your bed, get up, you go for a walk, have a good drink of water before you do that, or have it while you're going on your walk, and then come back and think about breakfast and really tune in. That's a great example that you actually had a physical symptom. But tune in, where are you feeling that? Because often, maybe not so much with breakfast, because we might be hungry if we didn't eat a late meal the night before. But with other meals in the day, I know for me, I've been a comfort eater for many years, and I'll just be like, oh, what do I feel like doing? I don't know, I'm just going to have something to eat while I'm thinking about it. So we can often, our triggers for actually eating are not a nice feeling in the stomach of, needing to have something in there, but emotional or other triggers. So that's appetite, and then digestion. I was hoping we would have loads of kids here so we could talk about fasting, but we haven't, so I won't do that. But all these symptoms that we get after, you just see people have a meal. If you go for dinner, someone at the end of the meal will go, you have all these like arms bloated or full, or a little burp or a fart, or ravenous straight away. I've got one of my daughters who's got that kind of digestive fire that the food's there and she's finished eating 10 minutes later, I'm hungry. It's like, just eat, So all of these symptoms are telling you something about your digestion. If you're really hungry soon afterwards, you've got that kind of fire that's probably producing the cowpat poos, and you just like rapidly burn. Your fire is just raging, and the food's just coming in, getting incinerated, and not really being turned into a nutritious substance that all the tissues of your body need to, for you to be really healthy on all levels. So pay attention to those symptoms, and if you've learned to, you've got a habit of, farting, like, really look at it. These little early warning signs are there to go pay attention before it develops into something worse and something critical that you're going to need medical help with. So try and make a connection between what have you eaten and what is the nature of what you've eaten. So if you're eating a lot of, farts we associate with like wind and air. So if you're eating a lot of windy, airy foods like crackers and everything dry and no good fats with it, just, typical, like quick food, air, or like very dry salads or foods that haven't got any oil or fats to counteract their dryness and their roughness and their coldness, you may well, get farting. So, have a look at what your digestive symptoms are, and a great post-digestive tea to make would be to get equal measures of fennel, cumin and coriander seeds, and just put them, I use a cafetiere, so I put a teaspoon of each in a cafetiere, put hot water on top, and just sip that through the afternoon after you've eaten the meal, and it's a great digestive aid. And those are hopefully herbs that you have in your kitchen already, so you don't have to go and buy a special brand of tea or anything. So that's a great, and then the hot ginger again is very good for digestion. Ginger is our Agni's best friend, so anywhere that you can put ginger in your diet is great. And then finally elimination, so all those beautiful descriptions of what kind of poo you have. Especially if you've got kids, they want to tell you, you get the opportunity to look at their poo every day when you wipe their bum, they're really small, make a big deal of it. Look at your poo, look how fantastic it looks, or, wow, that looks different to yesterday. Was this, you remember you went to the birthday party and you had all those lollies, look at your poo, look how different it is, and really try from a young age to get out of that taboo of we're not allowed to talk about our poo, or that's dirty in some way, because it's such a good indicator of what's going on in your health. What kind, what shape it is, what size it is, when you're doing it, how often you're doing it. If you're only pooing every 3 or 4 days, like Tara said, that's a level of toxicity in your body. That's, you're carrying stuff that is from days ago, still in your body that really wanted to be eliminated. So you're asking a lot of your body to retain that. And probably in other areas of your life, you may be holding on to things that need to be let go of. So Ayurveda is very much a whole body, mind, spirit medicine. So we don't just look at what's going on with you physically. If you have a tendency in certain areas of your gut health, there's probably an emotional or spiritual reason why that is happening for you as well. So, this expo is an amazing opportunity to find out who out there in the community is educating and working with people in a way that really resonates with you, that will be able to help you improve your health. And every little step, so of, you know, the kind of habits that I'm talking about, introducing a tea, walking a bit more, you know, ideally not eating every hour, you know, like give your body a break and a chance to actually digest what's already in there before you chucking something else down. You know, just take a small step, some small little step today that might just be, you're going to just drink a bit more water, or, you know, instead of this view that we need to like radically overhaul everything you do, just take one small step that you know you can sustain over years to come, and that is really going to make a difference to your long-term health. So yeah, I look forward to speaking to any of you after this, or I've got a little stool across the way, and thanks all for coming today. It's great to see you.
So my name is Victoria Yuen. We've got an amazing panel here, and so lucky to have all of this knowledge. I'm coming from a very, very personal side of things. Can everyone hear me up the back? Yeah. But not if I see you. Good, excellent. I've got to laugh so you can hear me. Okay, so I'm glad we've covered a few little squeamish things, because my story is quite squeamish. So if you don't like squeamish, you might like to leave now. I moved to Busselton about a year and a half ago. I was living in Narrabeen before that, and before that Sydney, before that Papua New Guinea, before that New Zealand. And I was born on a gorgeous little island called Rarotonga in the Cook Islands. So has anyone been to Rarotonga or know it? We have? Gorgeous? Beautiful.
Love it.
So 1975 I was born there. It was very, very, very rustic. The hospital sometimes had a doctor in there. And I was very few Caucasian people there. At 10 months old, I got incredibly sick, and my belly swelled up and swelled up and swelled up. No one knew what was wrong with me, had no concept at all. The doctor flew in from New Zealand and just went, holy crap, and got 3 years of squeamish, just went woof, straight down my belly, cut the knot out of my valve that had formed, like a full physical knot. It's called intussusception. Normally the valve just forms a knot, like just envelops each other, but this was actually a full knot, and it had been a knot for probably 3 or 4 days, maybe longer. Cut that right out, sewed it all back together very, very quickly. Sewed me back together very, very quickly. I screamed so much that I blew the whole thing apart again. So they opened me all up again, did it again, did it all again, sewed me back up very, very quickly. You can imagine the scarring from this already. Went back to New Zealand, and they just went, holy crap, what the hell did they do? They opened me up again, they took it apart again, and they put it all back together again. So the adhesions that I have now from that one operation, next operation are massive. So even if I did follow a very, very, very good diet, you know, I had a stress-free life, I would still have issues. Now, I didn't follow a good diet in that age. I don't think many people knew too much about gut health. I still don't think they do. And, you know, ate a horrific diet, had enormous stress, and I'm one of those sensitive people, so I do feel stress. People just told me to suck it up, grow a thicker skin, whatever. We hear it all the time. And so since then, on an annual basis, usually when I get a little bit of a cold or get a bit run down, I actually end up in hospital, and they try to operate again. And so I continually have been back to hospital. They've either come in from up and given me variant meals to go through and to scan me and to do all sorts of things. I reached a stage about 10 years ago now that one of the surgeons, the gastroenterologist, said to me, we can't operate anymore. You have so many adhesions. You have so much scar tissue. We just can't get in there anymore. The pain will have to be managed through morphine, and it's getting more and more consistent, so you will have to live most of your life
on morphine. You have to come into the hospital and just get cleared out physically. So I had 2 very small children at that stage, and I just thought, I don't want to live my life on morphine. That's just crap, really. Talking about gut health, that's just sucks. And so I thought, I really need to figure this out. No doctor said to me, go to a naturopath. No doctor said to me, go to a dietitian. No one said anything. I said, well, how do I manage this? They said, you usually get it when you're stressed. So every school exam, I ended up in hospital. Every sports carnival, I ended up in hospital. I've been to a lot of hospitals over my life. I figured out that most of the time it was stress. I did a little bit of a timeline. I said, right, well, it's stress that's getting into my gut. The gut forms a knot, and then the knot needs to be relaxed in some way, usually through the morphine. And so I said to the doctor, I said, okay, it's stress. What do I do? And he said, well, don't be stressed. Okay, so how do I not be stressed?
Drink alcohol.
It's the antidepressants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And no way am I saying that antidepressants are a bad thing. No way am I saying doctors are a bad thing, because we all need to follow these different paths along our lives. But then I thought, well, cool, morphine and antidepressants. That's great. I did have a fair bit of wine when I, got this little diagnosis. I thought, what the hell am I going to do? So I thought, I'm just going to have to take it into my own hands. And studied and studied and studied and researched, hundreds and hundreds of hours. I changed my job. I was a school teacher. I retrained to be a 500-hour yoga, mindfulness and meditation teacher, because I knew that that was the best thing for me, and I wanted to find out why it was the best thing for me and how I can improve it so that it can continue into the longevity of my life, not just little bits and pieces. And then I realised that not only the movement, that Ayurvedic part of yoga, knowing what to eat, knowing what suits your own body type is a good thing, but the stress is just such a huge thing still. And we have so much stress in our lives, and it's a very, very difficult thing to take that stress out. But if we can train ourselves to how we react to the stress, then it's going to be so much better for our gut health. And the girls have already talked about how stress really, really affects our gut health. That's the main thing that I focus on now. I've got my diet sorted, but again, my body changes, so it's just this part. I need to always learn more about what's going on, other healthy foods coming out, other healthy foods that say they're healthy and just, sugar-free, which is just like chemical shitstorm. So you've got to be really mindful of all of those labels and things like that. Basically eating, what you can grow and what you can kill if you're eating meat. Yeah. And so I now teach stress management because it's what I practice on a daily basis, and I've just noticed how incredibly beneficial it is for me. And happy to say I now have to go back regularly because the scar tissue, the adhesions can turn cancerous. So I work with cancer patients a lot because I feel for them a lot. And recently, January, I think I went back to the Busselton Hospital. Amazing facility, just beautiful facility that you have here, really great. The surgeon afterwards said, oh my God, what are you doing? Your guts are a mess, what happened? And he said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because I don't need to see you for 7 years. You haven't had a Panadol for 7 to 8 years, no morphine, nothing. Every now and then I notice that I need to take a step back from my busy life, and I need to reevaluate. I need to bring more mindfulness, more meditation into my life, because I may have been going through a particularly stressful part of my life. So I'm not saying that everything is rosy and gorgeous for me now, but I'm saying I have to be very, very careful about things and know what the triggers are. So now I come in and I teach people how to do the mindfulness and the meditation, and it's not sitting in the cave with a loincloth, elevating and like this. It's breathing properly. And if we can teach ourselves to breathe properly, diaphragmatically breathing, we can try to calm our heart rate, calm our blood pressure, manage our stress, and then we're in a really nice place to come to one of these ladies and say, I just need a tweak, how can I make my life better? So we all deserve to live a really, really, really good life.